Good morning, boys and girls. I'm Eleanor Hawkins, and welcome to Telestory Time. You know, tomorrow is a very special day. Yes, it's Father's Day, and I've chosen a very special poem entitled Father. And this is an unusual poem, boys and girls, because each sentence begins with a letter of the spelling of the word Father, Father. So now listen carefully. F is for the food he earns for me. A is for always he is thinking of me. T is for trust. I trust him in everything. H is for the home he helps keep for me. E is for everything he does for our family. R is for right, which he is always doing, and also for respect, which we always give him. Yes, all those letters, Father, spell Father. And now, boys and girls, I want to read you our very first story. And the one I've chosen is entitled Teddy Bear of Bumpkin Hollow. Teddy was a little brown bear. He was just about the cutest little brown bear that ever lived in Bumpkin Hollow. But he had one very bad habit. No matter what his mama told him to do, he wanted to do just the opposite. If Mama Bear said, "Teddy, it's time to come in and eat lunch now," Teddy would stay right where he was and play and play. If Mama Bear said, "Teddy, it's time to go to sleep now," he would just open his eyes as wide and say, "But Mama, I'm not sleepy." No matter what Mama wanted him to do, he didn't want to do it. Why, if Mama told him to be a good boy and smile, he would make the most awful face. It was enough to scare Sammy Squirrel right out of his skin. Even Willie Woodpecker stopped pecking holes in the white pine tree and hid his head under his left wing when Teddy made a face like that. Mama and Papa talked about Teddy's strange behavior one evening after Teddy was asleep. "Well, now what will we do?" Mama Bear said, completely exasperated. "I'm sure I do not know," said Papa. "He is getting too big to spank." "Spanking doesn't do a bit of good anyway," said Mama. "Making him stand in the corner doesn't do any good. Putting him to bed in the middle of the day doesn't do any good either." "I don't know," said Papa. "I really don't know what to do." Now Mama Bear thought a long time. Finally she said, I know exactly what to do." "Well, what?" asked Papa Bear. "What does Teddy like to do the very best of anything?" Mama asked him. "Why, to go across Bumpkin Hollow, up Blue Lupine Lane, down through Bobcat Canyon, and way up on Chocolate Mountain to visit Grandma and Grandpa Bear," said Papa. "Well, then we shall go to Chocolate Mountain tomorrow morning," Mama said. "But we shall wait and see if Teddy goes or if Teddy stays at home." "But he can't stay home alone," said Papa. "No, of course not," said Cousin Amanda. Cousin Amanda will be glad to stay with him, I know," said Mama. Early the next morning, Mama called to Teddy, "Hurry, Teddy, the sun is up, and it's time for little bears to be up too." Teddy didn't even grunt. Mama called him again, but still he didn't wake up. Mama had to call him 6 times because, of course, he didn't want to do anything he was told to do. After breakfast, Mama gave him a shiny red bucket. "Go over to Honey Beehive," she said, "and get this bucket full of the very best mountain flower honey. Take the short path and not the long way through the green woods," she warned. "Now hurry, Teddy. If you are back by 10 o'clock, you will have a very pleasant surprise. If you are not back by then, you will be very sorry." "What is the surprise?" asked Teddy. Oh, Teddy loved surprises. "Well, now I can't tell you now," said Mama, "or it wouldn't be a surprise any longer. Now run along and remember, don't go through the woods." Teddy ran down the path swinging the shiny red bucket. Soon he came to the little twisted path that went under the wild grapevines and into the woods. Teddy stopped. Oh, how he did love to go through the green woods and wade in the icy mountain stream. "Oh dear," said Teddy, "what shall I do? I wonder what the old surprise is anyway." He stood there swinging his bucket. "I'll just hurry," said Teddy. "I'll run as fast as I can. Then it won't take me any longer to go through the woods than to go by the short path." And Teddy crawled under the wild grapevines and scampered down the little twisted path into the green woods. And soon he came to the icy mountain stream. "I'll just take a minute to splash in it," he said to himself, and then he saw Mr. Bullfrog on a rock. "Good morning," croaked Mr. Frog. "I'm so glad to see you, Teddy Bear. I've been learning a new song. Do sit down and listen and tell me just what you think of it." Teddy sat down on the cool green bank and wiggled his toes in the icy water. "Let me sing you another," said Mr. Bullfrog. "Oh no," said Teddy, suddenly remembering the surprise. "I must hurry to Honey Bee Hive." So on he went. Just as Teddy was coming out of the green woods, he met Timothy Black Bear. Timothy also was on his way to Honey Bee Hive. Timothy and Teddy raced and played tag all the way up the hill. Oh, they were so tired by the time they came to Honey Bee Hive that they sat down on an old pine log to rest. Soon they were fast asleep. Teddy began to snore. Well, Mr. Honeybee didn't like that terrible noise going on right under his beehive. He flew out in an awful rage and stung Teddy right on the end of his little black nose. "Here's your honey," he said. "Now go home." Old Mr. Honeybee was cross. Teddy snatched up the shiny red bucket of honey and ran howling down the path. He didn't turn off into the woods this time. He just ran straight for home as fast as his little legs would carry him. He wanted Mama Bear to put some soft black mud on his nose to take the sting away. But when Teddy got home, Mama Bear wasn't anywhere to be found. Papa Bear wasn't anywhere either, and there on Mama Bear's favorite chair sat Cousin Amanda. When Teddy saw her, he wailed, "Where's my mama? I want my mama." "Oh," said Cousin Amanda, "your mama and papa left here at 10 o'clock this morning. They went across Bumpkin Hollow, up Blue Pine Lane, down through Bobcat Canyon, and way up on Chocolate Mountain to visit Grandma and Grandpa Bear. You could have gone with them if you'd been back on time." Teddy Bear didn't know just what to do. He just stood there for a minute looking very, very sad. And then he ran over to his little soft bed, buried his head under the pine needle pillow, and cried and cried and cried. Now, late that afternoon, Mama Bear and Papa Bear came home. Teddy had been thinking. When he saw Mama Bear, he ran to her. He put his arms around her. "I won't ever be a naughty little bear again," he promised. "Of course you won't," said Mama Bear. "Look what Grandma Bear sent home for you. Big chocolate cookies with white sugar frosting. And you know she wants you to come and see her next week." And you know, boys and girls, Teddy went and had a wonderful time. And that is the story of Teddy Bear of Bumpkin Hollow. And now stay tuned, and we'll be back in just a moment to read from our Big Do You Know book. Stay tuned. And now, boys and girls, I'm going to read from our Big Do You Know book. Do you know all about Father's Day? Do you know Father's Day is a day that people of many countries express appreciation for their fathers by giving them gifts or greeting cards? Do you know that Sonora Louise Smart Dodd of Spokane, Washington, conceived the idea of a special day to honor fathers in 1907? She did this after listening to a sermon on Mother's Day. Do you know Sonora Dodd's father, after her mother died, raised 6 children, and she wanted to honor him, William Jackson Smart, for being such a great father? Do you know through Sonora Dodd's efforts, the first Father's Day was held on June the 19th, 1910 in Spokane, Washington? Do you know President Lyndon Johnson in 1966 proclaimed the third Sunday in June for Father's Day? 6 years later, in 1972, President Richard Nixon signed this proclamation into law. Now, tomorrow is Father's Day. Be sure and tell your father that you love him and give him a big hug. Boys and girls, school is out, and I'm inviting each of you to join the summer reading program at any of the libraries in the Craven, Pamlico, Carteret Regional Library System. You know, you will learn all during the summer that reading can really be fun. And now stay tuned, and we'll be back with another story in just a moment. And now, boys and girls, I'm going to read you the story, Baby Raccoon. Father Raccoon sat on the riverbank fishing. "Well, now what can I do?" said Baby Raccoon. "Well, play with your wagon," said Father Raccoon. "I don't want to play," said Baby Raccoon. "I want to fish." "You're too little to fish," said Father Raccoon. "Just pile some little sticks in your wagon and then carry them home. When I catch enough fish, we can build a fire. Then Mother Raccoon can cook the fish for our dinner." "All right," said Baby Raccoon, and he began picking up little sticks and piling them in his wagon. And soon the wagon was full. Baby Raccoon started home, pulling the wagon behind him. Pretty soon he met Little Muskrat. My," said Little Muskrat, "are you going to play with all those little sticks?" "I'm not going to play with any of them," said Baby Raccoon. "I'm taking them home so we can build a fire. Then Mother can cook the fish my father is going to catch." "Now, if I had some of those little sticks," said Little Muskrat, "I could make my nest in the riverbank much stronger." "Well, take some," said Baby Raccoon. "We won't need all of these for our fire." "Thank you," said Little Muskrat, and he took an armful of sticks. Baby Raccoon started home again, pulling the wagon behind him. Pretty soon he met Little Porcupine. My," said Little Porcupine, "are you going to eat all those little sticks?" "Oh, I'm not going to eat any of them," said Baby Raccoon. "I'm taking them home to build a fire. Then my mother can cook the fish my father catches." "That tender bark is just like candy to a porcupine," said Little Porcupine eagerly. "Well, take some," said Baby Raccoon. "We won't need all these sticks for our fire." "Thank you," said Little Porcupine, and he took an armful of sticks. Baby Raccoon started home again, pulling the wagon behind him, and pretty soon he met Little Beaver. My," said Little Beaver, "I've been hunting little sticks like those to build a dam." "Well, we're going to build a fire with them," said Baby Raccoon, "and then we could cook the fish my father catches. But we won't need all of these. Take some." "Oh, thank you," said Little Beaver, and he took an armful of sticks. Baby Raccoon started home again, pulling the wagon behind here. Look at the sticks I have, Mother," he said. "We'll build a fire to cook the fish Daddy catches." Mother Raccoon looked in the wagon. Well, I don't see any sticks," she said. Baby Raccoon looked in the wagon. He didn't see any sticks either, and then he began to cry. Just then Father Raccoon came home. "Well, what's the matter?" he said. "I gave Little Muskrat and Little Porcupine and Little Beaver some sticks," cried Baby Raccoon, "and now there aren't any left to build a fire to cook the fish that you caught." "Well," said Father Raccoon, "I'm glad we can't build a fire because I didn't catch any fish." "In that case," said Mother Raccoon, "let's visit Farmer Brown's wheat field. I like wheat just as well as fish. Don't you?" "Oh, even better," said Baby Raccoon. And that, boys and girls, is the story, Baby Raccoon. And now stay tuned, and we'll be back with another story in just a moment. And now, boys and girls, I'm going to read you the story, Bartholomew the Beaver. Once there was a silly little, lazy little beaver. His name was Bartholomew. He lived with Mother Beaver and Daddy Beaver in their own beaver lodge. And all he wanted to do was play all day long. "Watch me," cried Mother Bee when Bartholomew was old enough to work like a beaver. And she showed him how to swim with his flat tail in the cold, cold river, and under it too. Bartholomew shivered and shook his furry head. "No," he said, smiling sweetly, "it's much more fun to play." "Watch me," cried Mother Bee, for she could not believe her ears, and she showed Bartholomew how to find nice juicy shoots and plants to eat, and how to sharpen his beautiful long front teeth on tree trunks. Bartholomew yawned behind his paw and looked bored. Then he tried to stand on his head. "It's much more fun to play," he said. Daddy Bee felt his blood pressure rising. "Bartholomew," he cried sternly, "no more nonsense. Just watch me." Bartholomew watched him. Daddy showed his small son how to slap the water with his queer, flat tail. "To warn the family that strangers are coming," he explained. And then he showed him how to store food for the winter in their home. When Daddy wasn't looking, Bartholomew started a game of tag your tail with himself. He went around and around and around. "Timber," cried Daddy Bee as he showed his son how to gnaw down trees very fast and make them fall just where he wanted them to fall. He also showed him how to stack logs, slap on mud, build big dams, and in this way make pools and lakes out of the rivers. But Bartholomew by this time was playing shoot the chutes on the riverbank and in the water by himself. Daddy Bee looked at Mother Bee and she shook her head. "Just leave him alone," she said. "To think our son is the only silly, little, lazy little beaver in the whole Green Forest. Of course we are ashamed of him, but maybe he'll turn out to be all right someday." So Daddy Bee and Mother Bee dived down to their front door, which was under the water, and went on working like beavers. As for Bartholomew, well, he just scratched his back and went out into the Green Forest to see just what he could see. Pretty soon he sat down to rest by Hotel Chipmunk. All at once, plop, something hit him on his nose, hard, and then thump, thump. Some things hit him on his ear, harder, and then scribbly, scrabbly, plunk, 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 down came a whole shower of hard things on him. Ouch! Get out of my front door, you lazy little silly little beaver, cried Mrs. Chattanooga Chipmunk, who was up in a tree spilling nuts down on him. Why don't you get your teeth into things like everyone else and work? Nuts to you, muttered Bartholomew to himself. No one had ever told him, and that was a very rude thing to say. And then he paddled clumsily down the forest path to see what he could see. And soon he came to Water Lily Pond, where Professor Bullfrog was giving his students their croaking lessons. All except one small bullfrog who had a sore throat and was excused. He was gargling pool water about 8 hops away. Croak-a-croak, croak-a-croak, sang the bullfrogs. Your middle register is improving, but croak, shouted Professor Bullfrog, and once again, croak-a-croak, croak-a-croak. Now at that moment they saw Bartholomew, and quick as a hop they all dived kerchung into Water Lily Pond. Am I scary looking? Is my fur ruffled? Are my whiskers on end, or what? Wondered Bartholomew, staring down into the water. Well, they're no fun. Guess I'll go shoot the chutes with Oscar Otter's boys. When he reached the otters, they were all busy catching fish. Shh, you silly little lazy little beaver, whispered Mother Otter. Can't you see that this is our busy day? Run along now. Run along, I say. My whiskers, said Bartholomew to himself, and he scratched his left ear. Doesn't anyone play? All right then, I'll flop right down here and take a nice nap. And so without looking, he flopped right down on a plant of prickly nettles. Oh, they did hurt. Only Mother can pull out these stickers, cried Bartholomew. He turned around to go home, and there, smiling, was a great big smile at him, was Wolfgang the Wolf. He wanted some beaver pie for dinner that night. Plunk! In one blink, Bartholomew dived into the water. Slap went his tail. Oh, what a nice noise. Down, down, down he went. Mr. Wolf was left behind. How happy Bartholomew felt. He was a beaver, and he could swim like a fish. Oh, how exciting. He came up on the opposite shore and bit into a branch. Just then, Mother Bee and Daddy Bee came down the path. Bartholomew smiled at them. After this, I'm going to work like a beaver too, he told them. And you know, boys and girls, he did. And he found that it was fun. And that is the story, Bartholomew the Beaver. And now let me remind you to be sure and think about joining the summer reading games at all the libraries in the Craven, Pamlico, Carter Regional Library System, because we will have the reading programs in all of our libraries this summer. And you know, boys and girls, you can really have a good time reading and knowing how much fun it can be. And two, you know, you can do so many things when you read books. And I have a little book here that tells you there are all kinds of books. Some can help you make a toy. Some can help you fix a bike. Some can help you bake a cake, and some can help you call a friend. Some can help you sing a song. Some can help you play music. Some can help you learn the alphabet, and some can help you get the facts. With books you can play pretend, you can cuddle up, and you can even stay up late in bed. Yes, boys and girls, there are all kinds of books, and you can enjoy them this summer long. And let me too remind you that today is Father's Day, and we want you to be sure and give your father a big hug and tell him you love him. And so now I say it's time for us to close our book of stories for this morning. But from Telestory Time, we wish all of the fathers out there a very happy Father's Day. Till next week, this is Eleanor Hawkins saying bye-bye for Telestory Time.